How's everyone doing? Today I'll be showing you my unseen horror. There are horror movies in my collection that I have not seen and I plan to watch coming up in the next couple of weeks. I have 11 titles right here, and let me know if you've seen any of these movies and what you think of them, and what one is your favorite from this unseen horror list, and what you think I should watch first. Leave me those comments down below. I want to go through all the movies in my collection that I haven't seen, but horror is my favorite genre by far, so I'm more forgiving of the tropes and cliches there, but I also have the most horror movies in my collection. So I want to go through everything, but I'm excited to check some of these ones out. First up is the new escape room movie, Tournament of Champions. I haven't seen the first one, but from what I heard talking to people, that you don't have to watch the first one. It kind of gives you a recap at the beginning. A few movies do that, a lot of movies do that, but I see a lot more recently. And this has the extended cut, which includes 25 minutes of all new footage, including an alternate beginning and alternate ending. I see a lot more of that too, alternate endings and stuff like that. Sometimes I can understand why it's not that way, but other times, director's cuts and things like that, it kind of improves upon it. And, sometimes the studio or producers don't want it a certain way. Usually they do test screenings and stuff like that, but I'm looking forward to checking this one out. I heard a lot of good things about it. I heard it was from different people saying it was better than the first one. I like this lead actress a lot. I believe her name is Taylor Russell. She reminds me so much of this girl from high school that I know. So yeah, it's kind of like, it reminds me so much of Cube, which I think is super underrated. I feel like it used to be like really talked about because I feel like it influenced Saw, and it clearly influenced this movie as well. But Cube, there's also Cube 2, Cube 0. So I'd love to see a company release that, like Arrow Video or Scream Factory, in a box set. And you can do more with the Cube series as well. But Cube, the first one, love the heck out of that one so much. Definitely check that out if you haven't. But yeah, I guess escape room. They're playing up the popularity of the escape rooms going on right now, and it's, I guess, if you don't get out, you die this time though. So it's just a group of people trying to escape these escape rooms and these scenarios, and trying to find the clues and stuff like that. And this also has, again, extended cut in here with alternate ending. So I'll be checking that out soon. Next up is the Arrow Video release for The Invisible Man Appears, and this is a double feature with The Invisible Man versus The Human Fly. And I have to say, this is like the first time it's available outside of Japan. It was written and directed by Nobu Adachi in 1949, and it's supposedly like one of the earliest sci-fi. It is the earliest surviving Japanese science fiction film ever made, 1949. Entertaining special effects were an early credit for legendary Eiji Tsuburara 5 years before he brought Godzilla to life. So that is pretty amazing. But yeah, there's invisibility serum. There's people trying to use it for robbing places, and so it's that sci-fi aspect. But then the next one right here is directed by Mitsu Miriyama, Invisible Man versus the Human Fly, and apparently they're using secret wartime experiments for shrinking humans to the size of insects. And there's a bunch of murders, and they hear buzzing noise at the scene of the crimes. Hearing that sound throughout. That was interesting. I thought so they're tiny. I don't know how that's going to work. Tiny people killing people, but I thought it was going to be like a giant human fly. We'll see. So Invisible Man appears, Invisible Man versus the Human Fly. Two Japanese films, take on the H.G. Wells classic character. Indebted to the Universal iconic film series, it's two of the early examples of tokusatsu special effects cinema from Dai Studios, later home of Gamera. So I'll go ahead and show you on one disc, and then here is the other artwork for Invisible Man versus the Human Fly. And I love what Arrow Video does. One of my favorite companies releasing out there for movies. You get the booklet, the transfer, the special features, newly commissioned artwork, reversible artwork. I love when films include booklets, especially for a movie that I enjoy. All behind the scenes information and photos and things like that. But yeah, great movies choices as well. And then their box sets are also amazing. Standalone releases too, but box sets are incredible. Next up is one that I've had for a while, and I've been meaning to see it, but the subject matter, it's a little crazy. It says it's grotesque, and this is Mobius, and this is from Kim K. Duck. And it's basically about this guy who's married and has a kid, and he's cheating on his wife with a younger woman, and the woman tries to remove from the husband, the organ driving his desires. And she somehow instead takes out the violent act on the son and then leaves them. And so disfigured in such a radical way, the son slowly deviates from normal life, and both the husband and son are damaged, living in grief. The wife returns to the family, and there's crazy destruction and even more horrific things happening. So that sounds insanely wild right here. Yeah, I've been putting off watching this one for a bit. This is a Korean movie, so there are going to be, subtitles. The same thing with the Japanese ones right here. Invisible Man appears, and Invisible Man versus Human Fly. I've heard a lot of people talk about, watching movies with subtitles. I feel like if you don't watch movies with subtitles, you're missing out on some of the greatest movies out there. And I don't really understand that too. Like, if you can read, you can watch movies with subtitles. And the more that you watch, the easier it is to retain. And there's just so many incredible international films out there. And dubs, don't do the dubs. It just looks so off. It doesn't work. You want to see it in the native tongue. I feel like watching movies with subtitles gives you so much more information. I watch English language films with subtitles. Sometimes there could be inconsistent audio, or just a low talk or something like that. But I'm definitely looking forward to checking this one out. I've been putting it off for a while, but it sounds insane. I feel like Asian films, they talk about and show certain things that just aren't shown over here in the U.S. Sometimes, for better or for worse. Next up is Paul Naschy in Orgy of the Living Dead. Apparently, this is one of his crazier roles, horror legend, and this is one of his weirdest roles where he plays a hunchback named Igor, who's a necrophiliac, apparently. So yeah, this is, it goes by the name The Hanging Woman, Return of the Zombies, Beyond the Living Dead. So yeah, this is just a crazy zombie movie with some nudity, apparently. It sounds super wild, reanimated corpses, mad science. There's a 19th century European village. He's going there, the lead character, for his uncle's will, and it's a Spanish-Italian Gothic masterwork, is what they're saying in here. And this is fully uncut on Blu-ray for the first time in America, remastered from the original 35mm negative. So yeah, this is just super crazy. An orgy of horror begins. So yeah, the first cousin is found murdered. I guess the uncle as well. There's a psychotic doctor, daughter, the hunchback. So all kinds of craziness going on here. But Orgy of the Living Dead from Full Moon. Yeah, remastered, uncut. So we'll see how that one is. It sounds wild and crazy and ridiculous, but hopefully entertaining. Let me know what your favorite zombie movie is. Let me know what your favorite cheesy horror movie is. Let me know what your favorite Asian horror movie is. Let me know your favorite Arrow Video release and what you'd like to see Arrow Video release in the future. Next up, from Imprint, which is a studio from Australia. Everything that I've gotten from them has been region free. And they have some releases that weren't released here in the US. Mothman Prophecies is one that I definitely want to pick up from them. Shocked that doesn't have a Blu-ray release here in the US, but they do an amazing job. I love them as a studio with their releases, the transfer, the special features, the titles that they choose, and then the packaging as well. Packaging is big if you're for physical media, which is why you're probably here, right? Yeah, I love talking movies on here and collecting, but oftentimes they'll have like a slipcover like this, and then you got the original artwork, and then you have another artwork right there, sometimes newly commissioned, sometimes old school artwork, and then I like the clear cases as well, and then you have interior artwork, and then the disc artwork. Same thing with companies like Arrow Video here in the US. Kind of reminds me a bit of Arrow Video. But I don't know too much about this one, Brotherhood of Satan. It says, there's witches in California, and they're murdering people in this, I guess, small town. And it looks like there's a bunch of older people, and they're using like kids as well, maybe to commit some of their crimes. But I've heard of it. I've been meaning to see it for a while, and I'm going to check this one out very soon. So yeah, Brotherhood of Satan from Imprint, and I just love their releases. And here's another release from Imprint. This is a box set. Their box sets are amazing too. I talk about Arrow Video is one of my favorite companies, here in the US, but Imprint is also one of my favorite companies, internationally. And I'm so thankful that a lot of the releases are region free. Everything that I've checked out so far has been. And box sets, they're one of the best out there that I've seen. definitely rivaling, Arrow Video for me. Arrow Video is, one of my all-time favorites, but Imprint is now becoming one of my favorites as well. And this is Hammer Horror, 4 Gothic horror films. I've seen 2 of them, but I haven't seen the other 2. And some good special features on here too. And then you take that off, and I like that artwork on the back. You've got Countess Dracula, and then Vampire Circus are the ones that I haven't seen. And then Hands of the Ripper and Twins of Evil are the ones that I have seen. But I love this box set. Real nice, sturdy outer slipcover right there, and you have the clear cases. I'll show you all of them, even though I've seen the other 2. Countess Dracula here, I thought it was going to be a vampire movie, but it sounds more like a Elizabeth Bathory kind of tale. She discovers the secret of youth, but sends her on a killing spree and, looking for blood. But a bunch of special features right there. And again, the interior artwork and the disc artwork. Look at that. Creeptastic. I feel like I'm going to actually take this out and show you, because I feel like, there you go. You can see it better now when it's not behind the disc hub. But definitely looking forward to checking that one out. And let me know what your favorite Hammer horror film is. They've got some classics for sure. Next up, Hands of the Ripper. I believe this one and Twins of Evil and Vampire Circus, maybe they all do it. They have Synapse releases here in the US. I'm not sure about Countess Dracula, but I know Twins of Evil, Vampire Circus, and I'm pretty sure Hands of the Ripper as well. But yeah, this is, Jack the Ripper tale, and, his daughter. And go ahead and show you interior artwork, disc artwork. But again, I love their releases so much. Twins of Evil, they use the satanic power of their bodies to turn men and women into their blood slaves. How can you not be interested in checking this one out from that tagline? But again, interior artwork, disc artwork. And then Vampire Circus. It says 15 years ago, villagers of Shettle thought they killed a vampire. Unbeknownst to them, the leader of a traveling circus is the vampire's cousin, who is intent on reviving his relative and having his revenge. Sounds amazing. It's exactly, Vampire Circus. I'm into it. A vampire revenge movie with a circus. I'm there. And this one right here looks like it has another bonus disc. I like that interior artwork. And it's Hammer Horror Flesh and Blood, the Hammer Heritage of Horror. So that's awesome. Just a bevy of bonus features on these films. And one thing I like about the 2 on the spines, they have, the years that these came out, 1971 for the first 3, and then 1972, and then, numbering on the spines too. So if you get all these Imprint films, you can line them up. I see a lot of companies doing that now. So 50 through 53. And just a beautiful release. And this really quality, sturdy outer box right here. Thank you so much, Imprint. You're doing an amazing job on your releases. And please release more. I'm super excited. Next up are the DVDs. Those are all the Blu-rays. A few of these ones are Dollar Tree ones. I think only one isn't. Gremlin, again, I feel like Dollar Tree, you can't go wrong. It's minimal risk, possible high reward. I found some great films at the Dollar Tree. Let me know your best Dollar Tree find has been movie-wise, Blu-ray, DVD, anything like that. Apparently they have 4Ks there too. I've never seen one at my one, but this cover and the title, obviously a ripoff from the classic Gremlins. But this is just Gremlin. Even that, front cover is somewhat reminiscent instead of, The Gift. But this is kind of a gift. The cover looked cool to me, but then the back, those visual effects, the CG effects, I don't know. But it's basically, this is a couple of years after the murder of his 10-year-old son. This guy receives a mysterious box from a relative containing a terrible secret, this creature that'll kill everyone that he cares about. And the only way to release himself from the curse is to give the box to someone he loves, to kind of, continue this never-ending circulation of ancient evil. So that sounds like an interesting concept, and I did like the cover. When I saw that, kind of the CG of that, with the creature, mixed feelings on it, but I'm going to give it a chance. Next up is one that I'm really excited for, The Midnight Man with Robert Englund, and then Lin Shaye, the teacher from Nightmare on Elm Street. Dream Wars is probably my favorite sequel for Nightmare on Elm Street. Let me know what your favorite sequel for Nightmare on Elm Street is. And then, this one sounds interesting too. I like the look right there to the Midnight Man creature. This is an IFC Midnight release. I like a lot of the IFC Midnight films. Let me know what your favorite IFC Midnight film is. And this is a Scream Factory release. And I love when Scream Factory picks up these IFC Midnight titles, and they're releasing a lot of great movies overall. And I still think the Friday the 13th Deluxe Collector's Edition box set is the best Blu-ray horror box set that there is, and I wish they would get the rights to all of the major big franchises like that and give them the proper box set, especially, Nightmare on Elm Street, Leprechaun. I mean, there's so many things they could do, and I feel like they're the ones doing amazing. Arrow Video too. Arrow Video is doing a great job, but they haven't been able to get the rights to like a big franchise like that with all the films. So I would love to see Scream Factory do that. They've done that before, not just with Friday the 13th, but there was a leaked rumor about the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. I would love to see that happen. They said that wasn't true, but maybe one day, hopefully. Basically, there's a snowy night, and I love snowy horror movies, so also something that hooked me for this. There's a sprawling mansion, and there's some teenagers, and they discover a mysterious box in the attic, and they play the Midnight Game. They have the instructions for an ancient pagan ritual, and it sounds kind of like Truth or Dare a bit. And they release the terrifying spirit of the Midnight Man, and there's they're facing their darkest fears and demons, and it sounds crazy and wild, and I like the look right there, and then the cast as well. So looking forward to checking this one out, and there is reversible artwork on that one. But yeah, I've definitely seen some really good films from IFC Midnight, so that was another draw for this one. And next up is Hell's Kitty. This is one I've had for a little bit. This is from Wild Eye. Wild Eye. They have some really cheesy, low-budget horror movies. This one, to me, looks like it's going to be super cheesy and ridiculous, but the cast, though, is a big draw here. It says it has Michael Berryman, Doug Jones. He was the Pale Man in Pan's Labyrinth, and he was also in The Shape of Water, Hellboy. Adrian Barbeau is in here too. Lee Merriweather, Courtney Gaines from Children of the Corn. It also looks like Children of the Corn. He was Malachi, and it looks like Isaac too. It doesn't say him on the back, but for sure that looks like him. So a ton of great horror movies right here, and Lee Merriweather as well, Catwoman. But yeah, so Michael Berryman, classic. Adrian Barbeau, Courtney Gaines. So the cast has me interested, but I guess it's a possessed kitty cat killing people. Just sounds super wild and ridiculous, but I'm gonna give it a fair chance. I'm hoping it'll be so ridiculous and cheesy that it's just super entertaining. But the cast is also a main draw too. Next up is Krampus 2, The Devil Returns. Are you on the naughty list? I haven't seen the first one. I feel like it's probably gonna be one of those ones where you don't need to see the first one. Maybe they'll do a recap. But basically, this town, though, is terrorized by this Christmas monster, and there's a murder and a disappearance, and a police officer is brought back to help the hunt for the Yuletide monster. It punishes children that have been naughty, and monster becomes more erratic and unpredictable. So it's, the Krampus right there, and it looks like this one's going to be really low budget, but for $1, why the heck not? Again, I love snowy setting horror movies. Looks like it's going to be a snowy setting. So there you go. Those are the 11 horror movies that I haven't seen in my collection, my unseen horror Blu-rays and DVDs. Let me know if you've seen any of these and what you think of them, and let me know which one of these is your favorite, and let me know what I should watch first from these 11 unseen horror movies in my collection. Leave me those comments down below, and I hope everybody's doing well. Take care and keep it spooky.